that may supersede. She may want to make a decision about what she does with her body, but we have restrictions that are reasonable restrictions, not allowing people to do whatever they want with their bodies. We have lots of good restrictions.
Which was mostly made by men.
So you think it's wrong that a bunch of men...
We have male... I'm not... They're male-dominated legislators.
But you're also arguing for the... It sounds like you're pro-choice.
In the sense, sure, yeah.
Okay, but you're arguing that... And it sounds like you're a little bit upset that men are the ones that are legislating
women's bodies. But they don't have vaginas. They don't get pregnant.
Like he's saying, it was the men that legislated the law that you support.
Okay, that doesn't mean that I can't still support that.
Well, right, and in the same way, I agree with you. In the same way, I can still support men's decisions, even though those decisions were made by men. And it should have been a law that you can't kill your baby in the womb. We make laws that you and I agree with. You and I agree that you and I should not be, as men or women, you should not be able to drive down the street drunk. Why? But it's your body. It's your car. Who are those men or women who are legislators? Who are they to tell you and I what we can and can't do with our body?
Exactly, that's my point.
But we do.
Who the fuck? No, I'm saying that we shouldn't accept that.
We shouldn't accept that it's a law that...
Like, I was raised in a Catholic home.
Yeah.
Okay? I was raised in a Catholic home. I was raised by Catholic women. And to the T, the family follows everything except for that one simple part.
Sure.
It's not simply about pro-life or pro-choice.
Sure.
It's about what is actually happening in that situation. What is happening in that woman's life.
So in other words, you think
that is their choice between them and God.
Well, no,
that's what I believe. I believe thou shalt not judge. That is the part from the scripture that I take most seriously, that thou shalt not judge. I do not think that it is my right or my ability to judge another woman. Because that is her decision between her and God. So understand, that's where I'm coming from. It's not simply I'm pro-choice. It's that I am a Christian woman who believes that that is a choice between her and God, and I shall not judge.
So you think
thou shalt not judge.
Now wait a minute. You just came, now I may be wrong, so tell me if I'm wrong. You just came up here and judged me for being a man. You just
How did I judge you for being a man?
You came up here and said, who are you? You're a man. You should not have a right to tell me what I can and cannot do with my body. So you just judged me for being a man. But see, I don't have a problem with judging.
But I know, but that's my point. Is that if you're gonna
you said we shouldn't judge, but you came up here judging. But see, I don't have a problem with you
because he judged first, that allows you the freedom to judge.
No, it's saying that we need to point out our judgment as Christian people. That's what it's saying.
But I think it's okay to judge. The Bible tells you to judge dozens of times. The only time it says do not judge, in its context, not in what we think that means, the author who wrote those words was referring to hypocritical judging. In other words, hey, you shouldn't smoke. I'm hypocritically judging. That's the only time the Bible refers to not judging as being something you shouldn't do. You shouldn't hypocritically. But right after that, it says to judge. So we judge all the time about issues. We just shouldn't do it hypocritically. So when you come up and you and I are having a dialogue, and a respectful dialogue, we have to put on our table the facts of the matter. And the fact of the matter is, an abortion kills an innocent human being. And because it does, no one should have a right to take that baby's life. And therefore, when the Supreme Court ruled that you could kill your baby, they were wrong. And I have an obligation as a fellow human being to challenge that. Because just like in the 1800s, they challenged...
How do you guys feel about late-term abortion? So what about my friends that were raped and had to carry the baby?
Well, that's in the brochure.
I'm asking you guys. If you guys
the longer answer is in the brochure. The short answer is, it is never right to kill innocent human beings. Why did we make a law that said you can kill the smallest members of the human race because of your situation? That's just barbaric. No, it's not for the health. It's for the abuse of women. It abuses women to suggest to a woman that she should be able to have the right to take the life, to dismember a little boy or girl because she, at the moment, feels like she doesn't want it. We should not be judging people to death because of our temporary feelings. And so that's why we're out here. We're out here to clarify with people it is wrong thinking to believe that you should be able to kill your baby, that that's somehow a woman's right. No, it's an abuse of womanhood, it's abuse of humanity to believe in killing babies in the womb. The situations you talk about, listen, I hear you. I was in one of those situations. My wife, pregnant? No, my wife and I were, but I haven't been raped either, and I hate rape. And I speak out against rape.
And that's my point, though, is like and when I say that, you know, when I first taught you, the first part that you referred to, saying that like, oh, I'm coming judging you as a man, what I'm saying is that please understand that from the perspective of students, who, especially the ones who have been raped by men, or some of the ones who have been told by men, you're not allowed to get an abortion because that's not okay. Even though she's carrying the child of someone who raped her, understand that as someone who never has the ability to get pregnant or completely
that's not the point, though. That's where. Why do you set that standard?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll let you finish. No problem. Finish,
Go ahead.
I'm saying that understand that it sounds a bit ludicrous to a lot of people when we know that you will never have to be in that same position as us.
You set up a standard that's a false standard.
No,
where do you get off? Listen,
well, let me finish. The perspective of a woman saying,
no, because here
you will never experience that.
No, wait a minute.
That's a fact. That is a natural fact.
Well, hang on. I was on the De Anza College. I was on the De Anza College campus. And they were setting up over there a big display. PETA was setting up a display against the killing of chickens and the abuse of chickens. And so I walked over to the guy and I said, hey, I'm curious. I notice sometimes when we run into the PETA folks and you guys are paying people $1 to watch the video and stuff, and stuff. I said, I notice that you guys are also pro-choice, usually, not always, but usually the PETA people are pro-choice. And he goes, yeah, that's true. And I said, well, I'm a little confused. If you think it's wrong and cruel to do the things that they do to chickens, which I happen to agree with a lot of what they said. There's some horrible ways they treat chickens in farms. And I go, but you're speaking out against cruelty to chickens, but you're not speaking out against the cruelty to babies in the womb. And he goes, well, I think it's wrong to say that you should take a position about abortion when I'm not a woman. And I looked at him and I said, but you're not a chicken. Why are you speaking out against cruelty to chicken? You're not a chicken. But then you use as an argument that you're not going to speak out against abortion because you're not a woman. That doesn't make sense.
But you understand the difference, right? The chicken
not at all.
Doesn't have the ability to communicate with us, whereas us women have the ability to communicate with you.
Now, wait.
Right here and right now.
No, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Right, but again,
this baby doesn't have the ability
but I'm talking
to defend
about
its life. Well, but I'm talking about both. I'm talking about a baby who's denied the right. These twins right here are denied the right to life.
And the mother who will ultimately take care of them. Unless you're going to be taking care of that kid. I'd say that's a totally different argument. Because if you are going to sacrifice yourself and say, I will take care of all of these kids.
There's 2 of 3.
Right, and so are you
We got those out of foster care.
Are you prepared to take all the kids that you're also about to shame these women to not
But that's not the standard to stand up against child killing. You're putting a false standard up there. You're saying if you're not willing to save the baby, you can't go over there and try to save the baby. I go, no. The reality is I can say...
No, I'm asking you if you're prepared to. I'm not saying that this is a standard that you should.
Absolutely.
I'm saying that if you're going to take that position, I hope that you understand that this is what is also expected of you.
I agree with you.
I understand. You got a real tendency thinking that I'm trying to argue, but I'm also just trying to clarify.
No, I agree with you.
Someone who's going to advocate.
I just showed you.
Right,
I advocate.
Answering the question.
John does.
Also trying to be defensive when I'm just trying to clarify.
Oh, no. Don't misunderstand my passion, okay? Sometimes my passion for truth gets misunderstood as being argumentative, and the reality is this. We can't set up false standards to determine whether or not killing babies in the womb is wrong. We can't say, well, you don't know her circumstances. Well, here's what I do know. It's wrong to kill little boys and girls. And since it's wrong to kill little boys and girls, her circumstances should not make it legal to kill those little boys and girls. What we should do is love her and help her through her pregnancy, but never propose to that woman that killing her child should be a positive solution to her problem.
Look. Crucial moment, right? So if we all can agree that that's what we want the woman to feel, do you think that a woman who is currently carrying her child, that's her initial reaction when she sees those pictures?
They have a variety of answers.
But that's my point. It's
well,
like,
they have a variety, but they come up to us and talk to us
but
about it.
But that's your goal, right? That's your goal, that you want the woman to feel loved. You want them to feel like they have a place to go, so that way...
The ultimate goal, yeah.
Right. You want them to ultimately keep that child, right?
And they do.
Not all the time, and that's what I'm trying to say to you is, look, like, for a lot of people, that's the scary image. That is a deterrent from talking to you guys.
But it wakes them up. But it wakes some of them up.
Not all of them.
Sometimes you need to not all of the images to stop atrocity.
Right, and hun, I understand. I'm saying that not all women are going to respond to that. But I'm saying please be courteous of the women that you are trying to get through to, that are currently pregnant, that are currently carrying, and they're deciding whether or not they're going to go to Planned Parenthood or whether or not they're going to come to you. Please understand.
I think look
at that example. Look at that direct comparison of a woman who's carrying, who really seems like the safer choice to go to. The person who is going to shame them if they do choose to get an abortion, or the person who will sit down and have the conversation with them and decide what's going to be the best choice for them and their family.
I hear you, but hang on a second. I hear you. But here's the kicker. When we're out here sharing truth with people, there are a variety of people walking by, and you and I know that. However, when I'm on the American River College campus, and a woman walks up to me and says, "You were here 2 years ago, weren't you?" And I said, "Yes, I was." And she says, "I walked by from a distance because I saw the aborted baby pictures, and so I didn't walk up to talk to you. But I walked by and I looked at the aborted baby pictures, and I went home and I said to my mom and my fiance, I am canceling my abortion appointment because I saw what an abortion does to a human being." And she goes, "I just want you to know that you were here 2 years ago. I now have a 16-month-old little girl at home who I love and adore with all my heart." Now, I didn't feel like being there that day. I was not in the mood for some reason at the moment, and that sure changed my mood. And I said to her, "Thank you for coming up." She goes, "Mister, never stop doing what you're doing because you saved a life." So I think, now this may sound a little weird. I don't want it to sound weird. I think the irritation or uncomfortableness that we may cause for some students who won't come up to us is worth the risk for people like her, because she's not the only one. In the 10 years I've been doing this, we've had them over and over. We just had one earlier. One of your classmates came up to me and said, "I disagreed partly. I read through your brochure at home last night, and you convinced me that abortion is wrong." So here were the students, the variety of students.
That's what happens when people come on campus.
And it actually was when she got to the page about rape.
Which is the part she disagreed with us on. But when she read that, she goes, "You know what? That's true. It makes sense." And so, yes, you're right. There will be some students that are going to be upset in such a way that they're not going to talk to us. But that's a small price to pay for them to think it through and maybe go home and say, "I hated you the day before, but I changed my mind the next day because I thought about it. I wanted to think about it."